Hey there. Okay, so Miss Blackman here to talk about the major domestic issues and their social effects, including the passage of civil rights legislation, Johnson's Great Society, and all following the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So, civil rights movement was gaining momentum, and in an effort to speed up integration, as ruled by Brown versus Board of Education from 1954, President John Kennedy supported civil rights legislation, but it was continually being blocked in Congress by his own Southern Party members. That kind of all changed after JFK's assassination. So, John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22nd, 1963, when he was riding with his wife in a convertible, as you can see right here. So Kennedy's death had a profound effect on the nation. Most people loved John F. Kennedy. He was bright, charming, young, and so his passing kind of helped Congress to pass civil rights legislation because he had supported it and had not been able to pass it in Congress. And so Johnson depicted it. When Johnson took over, Lyndon B. Johnson, after Kennedy was assassinated, he depicted a passage of the proposed civil rights as being one of the best ways to honor the dead president's legacy. And so Congress responded to the call to action and passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This outlawed segregation in American schools and other public places. And then also the Economic Opportunity Act of 1964 was passed, which launched Johnson's War on Poverty, as we'll see with the Great Society programs. So Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawed major forms of discrimination against African Americans and women. It ended unequal application of voter registration requirements and racial segregation of schools, segregation of places of work, and facilities that serve the general public, like public accommodations. No more could you have separate restrooms for different races. And later, provisions were extended to include private work facilities and wage discrimination against women. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 made it illegal for Black voters to be disenfranchised through unfair voter registration criteria. So no more literacy tests. And also, there would be more federal oversight of elections in southern states, which we hadn't really seen since Reconstruction. All right, President Johnson's Great Society. So Johnson launched the Great Society, which its goals were to eliminate poverty and to eliminate segregation and discrimination against African Americans and other minority groups as well. And so this was known as the greatest reform agenda since FDR, Roosevelt's New Deal programs. Here are some things that it included: a war on poverty, in which 40 programs were created and intended to eliminate poverty by improving living conditions and enabling people to end the cycle of poverty. Education, 60 separate bills provided for new and better equipped classrooms, minority scholarships, and low-interest student loans. Medicare, which guaranteed health care to every American over 65. So that's how we have Medicare today. Medicaid, which provided health care assistance to the poor. Environment, which introduced measures to reclaim clean air and drinking water. National Endowment for the Arts and Humanities, which was created with the philosophy that artists, performers, and writers were a priceless part of the U.S. identity and deserve support. And Job Corps, which provided job training for young men and women. And Head Start, which was a program for 4- and 5-year-olds from disadvantaged families that gave them a chance to start school on an even basis with other children. So a lot of these programs pretty much are still in effect today and still very important in our society. All right, thank you for watching. And up next, the impact of television.